G'day, how you going today? It is so great to see you. I do hope you're super well. Grab yourself a cup of tea, a coffee, a glass of milk, a lemonade, a cordial, whatever works for you, maybe a cold beer. This is a video about producing things. My 2022 calendar production has begun and I'm now going through the process of choosing images and concluding the layout. I've had a few questions in the comments saying, how do you do it? We'd like to see the process. This is what this video is all about, and if you'd like to see a little bit of behind the scenes with Adobe InDesign and Adobe Bridge, which is what I use for viewing the images, then please join me for the ride. Let's jump into InDesign as I talk about what happens 3 to 4 months before we go to print. And we're going to follow this journey all the way through. And if COVID does not return, we will end this little series actually on the printing presses, seeing the calendar actually being printed, collated, put together, finished, and then going out to market. Last year's calendar went super well. I have to thank all of you for the fact that we sent hundreds overseas. So thank you. Let's jump into InDesign. Let's have a look at where we are up to. Now, due to how InDesign works, the front page is upside down, but I've actually put this image in the right way up so we can see what's going on. All I do is I grab last year's calendar template and we obviously make the basic changes. As we can see here, calendar 2022. That's the one we're making for. As I said in the opening, really I've only got about 2 or 3 months before this needs to be finished in June, and then by late July I will print for an August or early August delivery. Obviously one of the major things besides choosing the images is updating the dates, and I simply do that by grabbing the built-in calendar and looking at next year. It's that simple. It's done manually. There may well be some templates out there for InDesign that does this sort of thing automatically, but that's not how I do it. As we can see here, January starts on Saturday the 1st, and this is still last year's calendar where it was Friday the 1st. So I'm yet to update. So doing those updates, that's probably a 1 or 2 hour process to go through and just check and double check. Then the next step I go through is getting all the public holidays based on where I am here. Unfortunately, I can't do public holidays for the whole world, or there would be no space for anything else. So I try and keep the public holidays as generic as possible. And the other thing I have to change, of course, are the details down here, the name, the metadata, and the website. The hardest and most important part is the image choices. I've really had a very productive 6 months or so of shooting since the last calendar was finished, probably around about August, early September, once we got out of lockdown in mid-November. So almost 6 months ago, I've been shooting as much as I possibly can. There's a lot of images that are going to make for a pretty awesome 2022 calendar. And the process of choosing the images, that's the hardest part. That can take me a very, very long time to decide upon that final list. Some of it's to do with trying not to repeat myself. Some of it's to do with taking risks, publishing images that might not automatically be the most popular. Some of it's to do with the mix of images, how they flow through here. What do they look like on the back? Because in the retail environment, and also retail online, not just bricks and mortar, people will look at the back here, this thumbnail grid of each month, and this has to kind of flow as well. So from my perspective, not everybody does that, but I like it to have some flow about it. So choosing those images is critical. What I do is, as the year goes on, I create a folder full of images that I think are worthy, and this is an example of one of those folders. And this to me is my shortlist. This is the shortlist, and every week I'm taking new shots, and every week I'm adding new shots in. For example, we will just open Capture One because there's a few images from the last couple of weeks that are not in here. So I just need to do a little update of this list. But as we can see already, there's 43 items. This image here I love. It was taken last night. I'm going to export that PSD, which means it's ready to go in the calendar, basically, and I just do a few adjustments, CMYK it, color correct it, turn it into a TIFF. But it's a full high-res file that we can work from rather than having to go back, working from JPEGs and then having to go back. That's kind of the way that I work these days. This is also files from yesterday. I'm not sure. Oh yes, I do like this file. So we will export that one. There is an image from a similar part of Melbourne in last year's or this year's calendar, so I probably won't use this one. And amazingly, this image was shot on the old 80 to 400 4.5 to 5.6 f mount lens, handheld. So I was walking around handheld at night trying to get shots. It was a bit of an effort. This is the only one I loved out of it. Yeah, not bad. Not bad for an old lens, handheld, first time I tried, but you know, I'm shooting at night at a 60th of a second at 240mm. I think that's asking a lot, and you don't get full VR functionality. There is VR in the lens. I'm still not quite sure whether that's working when you're on the Z mount. Definitely that one. Oh, this one. Brilliant. The process of looking for images to publish, it can be quite long-winded. Some years I have more shots that I love than others. So sometimes you've got to dig deeper into the archive. When you first look at your photographs and you might choose your favorites, your 5-star, your favorites, I sometimes might come back a year later, 6 months later, 2 years later and go, why didn't I 5-star this one? So sometimes you can find hidden gems hiding in what you've already done. It's certainly worth having another look sometimes. These images here were photographed on the Mamiya RB67 lens adapted for the Z, and I'm just so excited by those. I think I'm going to throw one of these as well as this shot here. I'm going to throw one of these in just because I just think it's so cool. Whether it'll make the final cut, I'm not sure. We're going to choose difficult. I think we will go with that one in the end. Okay, well, I think they're all the images that are from the last 6 months. So one of the first things I do is just to try and get a feel for the calendar. I do try and place the images based on time of year, if I can. So, and what's great about being able to see all of the images that's currently on the short list at once is, well, that means you can see them all at once. Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Let's kick this off. Sometimes you might have a summary image that's not automatically summary, but that's okay. Sometimes you've just got to get started, get things happening, and start to build a picture, and you're not exactly sure how it's going to drop. Now, I did put the gorilla in there already, but I'm going to put the gorilla in at Christmas time, which is when I actually photograph that. Check out this link up in the corner here where you can see the video of when that was photographed. I feel like this is probably a better Christmas image, so we'll throw that one in there. Now, they are upside down, and we're just going to very quickly place. And as I've said, this process, this iterative process, is critical for you just do a first draft and you look at things and then you kind of go, how can we do this better? And it's a fabulous process. And really, when you're creating something on this scale where you make thousands of them, it really is in your best interests to do a version and then take a step back. I think it's absolutely critical. You can't just do this in one sitting. I mean, you can, but you don't get your full analysis. I think I've worked out we're going to be at 20 years in about 2 years' time. And in the mid-2000s, I actually used to get a bunch of my friends, about 20 of my friends, around to my gallery, and I'd give them all pizza, and I'd get them to help me kind of shortlist things. I'd love you guys to be a part of this process. You can tell me which images you might like or want to see in this calendar. It would be absolutely amazing. and then you could know that you asked for a specific image and it made it in. No one person will get everything that they want in this calendar, of course. And I can assure you, when I show my wife and other significant people in my life, things always change. They always change. So even I don't necessarily get 100% of what I want in the calendar. The beauty of throwing something together like this is you start to go, oh, well, what's the mix of night and day? And what's the mix of location? Do I have too many trams in, and so on? But that's okay. This is a first draft. And then you say to yourself, all right, well, I've got to go back and find more images that are daytime, or I've got to find more images that have the sun in it. Or this year I actually feel like it being dark and moody and red. Like we do have a lot of red this year. I don't know why red features so well. Maybe I was in a red mood. But this is it. You just got to build it up and then take a step back, squint at it and go, how do I do this better? How does this feel like a more complete version of itself? Oh, I love that image. I don't think it should be in October. So I think about the fact that we don't have fog in October. We certainly have fog in July, which is what this is. Our seasons are backwards. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, we are the opposite. Turn him around. Great. And we might have our very first draft of the 2022 calendar complete. There it is. First draft is okay. I think I will give it a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. We've got a lot of darkness, a lot of black in there. That just means we need to find some more other colors. And obviously we have 51 images down here, although there's a little bit of repetition. I think we have 48 different images down here, and we only have to use 12, and there will be more to add to this list. So what would we change? Please let me know. Keeping in mind January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Which images would you remove? Which ones would you love to keep? Which one's in your birthday month? Let me know in the comments below. So this is genuinely the first part of the process, and now I search for colors or light and dark that I think we have too much of an emphasis on. Or you could argue that we're going to go with a theme, and I just have to, I will now go away and just ponder what I'm trying to say and what I think will work. And I might sit on that for a week, and then I'll do another iteration. So I'll do another little short segment on the next iteration. Let me know if that would be a good thing. Okay, back to the studio. All right, well, there you go. That is the calendar beginning. I will do updates probably in about 2 months' time where the final images are starting to come together. All of the date population will be complete and we will be getting very close to the end. Then I'll probably actually take us through the actual process of making the files, the print-ready CMYK files. We go from RGB to CMYK in order for them to print. This process has gotten easier and easier as the years have gone by. I first did this something like 25 years ago, no more than that, 1992, 93. So almost 30 years ago, I was having to make files CMYK for them to be printed in my greeting cards, which I created color greeting cards in the early 90s. If you have any questions, do please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you about anything regarding this. I'll do my very best to answer them. As always, an absolute pleasure to have you here. And if this is your first time here, I would love to see you again. So please do subscribe, please share, please like, and there is over 300 episodes you can watch right now just down there. And don't forget to please visit our gallery if you are in Melbourne. We would love to see you. Block Place, CBD, right in the very heart of this amazing 5.5 to 6 million people metropolis. Bye for now.